All right, so what I'm going to do now is I will go through the process of adding a custom indicator or your own indicator, an indicator that you bought from the market or an indicator that you have in your set of file here in the navigator under the market or under the indicator, basically the indicator file, or under the indicator in the market file that you have as the indicator that you wanted to use with the Smart Universal Expert Advisor. So basically, this is what you're going to get if I click on default here. This is what the default settings that you have in the Smart Universal Expert Advisor. What you want to do is you want to scroll down all the way to the indicator setting, and you want to ignore this section here because this is the built-in indicator, the trend breakout catcher, and these settings are for the trend breakout catcher. Now we're not using the trend breakout catcher, we're using the custom indicator. So what I will do is I'll select this tab where it says indicator for use, and I will select custom indicator. Now for the sake of explanation here in this video, what I'm going to be using is I'm going to be using the CCI arrows, and this is just a normal indicator that offers buffers. There's nothing special about this indicator. I just use it for an example. I'm not using this one in any kind of expert advisor. This is just for an example. And as I create a better indicators, for now, the best indicator that I have is the trend breakout catcher because it's really good at catching trends and breakouts of trends. The CCI, as I said, is an example here. You can use it as an example, and I will share the file here in the online course just for you to train yourself on how to add these kind of indicators on your own indicators and to also know that this kind of thing is working. Now, what I'm going to prove to you in this exercise here that we're going to do is I'm going to prove to you that as a universal expert advisor, I would say, it can be used with any kind of indicators. So here in the exact indicator name, what you want to do is it's either you have the indicator inside of a file, inside the file of indicators, or you have the indicator itself inside of the file of the indicators only. So market is a file inside of the indicators file. So when you have a file inside of a file, what you want to do is you want to write type the name of the indicator, but before that you have to type the name of the file. That's how you do the path. That's how you type the path of the indicator, right? So if you have this CCI arrow, for example, that I have in the market, by the way, and you can download it for free. When you download the CCI arrows for free, it's going to be installed under markets. So then what you have to do is you have to go into the name of the indicator here and type market. And then you type in the name of the indicator, the exact name of the indicator with the spaces in every single thing. So you do CCI first, as I have the name here, CCI, and then arrows. Now, if you do arrow, it's not going to work. If I do only CCI arrow, it's not going to work. Why? Because I have an S here, and anything that is missing, it's not going to be communicating. The indicator and the expert advisor is not going to be communicating. Now, the idea here is for the expert advisor to read data or buffers or inputs or iCustom function from the CCI arrows from any kind of indicator that you have here. In order for this to happen, you have to create some kind of connection between the two. And the only kind of connection that we have is we are adding the exact name here. And that's how basically we differentiate between the other indicators. Now, if I write down only CCI, then it's not going to use this one here, but instead it's going to use this one right down. And that's why the exact name is important. So I have to add S. And even though this setup here, right, this path that I added right now here, it's not going to work because the CCI arrow is not under market file. It's just under the indicator. That's why I have to remove this section here. I'm just giving you guys scenarios so that you understand what is going on exactly when you are doing this. Now, the second most important thing is that you have to know the buffers. Let's say, for example, you got an indicator from online and you don't know the buffers. There's a way to know the buffers. So there are some indicators that you can add into the chart and you can see the buffers, and it will actually, the indicator is going to read whatever indicators that you have in the chart, and it will tell you what kind of buffers are there. I am not providing that kind of indicators. Probably I'll create one in the future, but you can look that up online and you'll find it. That's just in case you stumbled up on an indicator online and you don't know the buffers. Otherwise, if you don't know the buffers, you are not using that kind of indicator that shows you the buffers on the chart, you are not going to be able to know the buffers unless if you have access to the code. And if you have access to the code, it's going to be under index buffer. It's going to say index buffer, up arrow, down arrow, or something like that, or uptrend, downtrend, and it's going to specify exactly what kind of digit that is assigned to that buffer. For example, or assigned to that index buffer. For example, here I have 0 for up, which means buy basically, and then 1 for sell. And it's going to be specifically, telling you exactly what kind of digit. And these digits can be from, whatever, from 0 to 100. It doesn't matter. It can be, any digit. It can be 7, 6, 8, 9. It can be anything. So you have to know exactly what kind of buffers. Again, in the same way that we have the name here and we have to add the right name, we have to add the right buffer, because if the buffers inside of the indicator are different than these that we added here, then we are not going to get anything, and then you're not going to be able to see any buy or sell signals from the expert advisor because the link of communication is broken. Now, the first link is that you have to add the right name. The second link also is you're going to have the right buffers. When you have these two, then the connection or the communication between the indicator and the expert advisor is going to be set. And in that way, then you can start taking trades using the indicators. Otherwise, it's going to be impossible. Now, the signal bars is going to be 0 or 1. And you can try between 0 or 1 because sometimes the signal might happen at the current bar, and that's going to be 0, or it can happen at the previous bar, that's going to be 1. So always start with 1, and if it's not working, you can change that to 0. And you can try again. So it depends to the way that the indicator is set. There's no right or wrong answer here because unless if you have access to the indicator and you understand how the indicator is written, then you can decide on those. But since there's only two options, 0 or 1, it doesn't hurt you to try both of them and see which one is working. Because if the indication is happening on the current bar and you do 1, nothing is gonna happen basically, and no trades are going to happen. So the logic that you're gonna use in your mind here is when you start and there is no trades taken, then the setup is wrong. But when you start and you say trades being taken, then setup is right. So that's the things, that's the 4 things that you need to know here. We have to select the custom indicator, the right name, the right buffers, right? Those are the things that you need to set. Now, doing this, we have neglected the use of the trend breakout catcher completely. We're not using the trend breakout catcher. All the indications and the buy and sell signals are going to be coming from this indicator. Whatever indicator that, again, can be support and resistance, that can be supply and demand, that can be any kind of strategy like 1, 2, 3 strategy, Fibonacci strategy, any kind of strategy that indicator uses to use those to create those buffers. Now, we have connected that and it's ready and it's set. Now, you have to set whatever environment or trading management environment that you wanted to control the buy and sell. Now we have the buy and we have the sell signals ready, but when are we gonna buy, right? What lot size are we gonna take? What is the stop loss? Where are we gonna use the stop loss in the first place? Where is our take profit gonna go, right? What timing are we gonna trade? Are we gonna trade on Friday, for example? If you don't want to trade on Friday, you turn that off to false. If you want to trade on some specific days here, like for example, you want to trade Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but you also want to trade on specific times of the day, like for example, from 8 at the first 2 hours of the New York session, for example. So you set up the time here, starting hours, right, and starting and ending hours. So start trading, stop trading. That's going to be 8 to 10, right? So you start 8 to 10 for every day except Friday. Right? So that's again an environment of trading that you can control. Now you go to the news, for example, news filter. You don't want to trade on some specific news. So what you do is you set that to true, and I'll show you guys how to set the because now if you wanted to avoid news, you have to get access to the calendar, the news calendar. That's something that we're going to talk about. But it's possible to avoid all the news releases in a way that you avoid those kind of big movements that might get you big losses. That's something that you want to keep in mind so far. So those kind of things need to be set before you start trading. So again, you remember from the last video, we talked about the 2 kind of ways of trading. So the manual trading simulation that I just mentioned here, or you want to do like pure expert advisor kind of trading. Whenever you get a buy signal, you set up a take profit at 100, for example. Let's change that to 100. And you take every time you get a buy or sell signal, you set a take profit at 10 pips, okay, at 100 points. And you take a lot size, a fixed lot size, or you can take a risk by percentage. That's going to be, for example, 1%, and it says here 1%. Fixed risk is 1%. So if you selected that, now we are taking 1% of the balance. Every time we get a signal from the CCI arrow, what's going to happen is 1%, and it's going to be auto-calculated, and the lot size is going to be auto-calculated as well, and in a way that you are risking 1% of your balance, okay? And then that trade is going to open with a take profit of 100, as we said here. That's going to be our take profit. Now, if the take profit is reached, then the trade basically is won, and that's what we want. But if it keeps on losing, then we're going to use some kind of algorithm that is going to save us from the loss, basically, and that's going to involve some kind of calculations that will basically try to minimize the loss as much as possible in a way that we're going to get in the whole equation with a profit, right? So I might go into details about this in very specific details in the future video. So stay tuned with this online course, and I'll explain to you guys how all that thing works. But for the sake of this video, as I said, that's how we set up the indicator, custom indicator. That is going to communicate with the expert advisor after we set up the environment of the trading, and that's exactly how it's going to work. So let's just use a fixed slot here. That's going to be 0.01, and we're going to turn off the loss recovery. We're not going to use the loss recovery here, and we're going to use a manual trading simulation. Now I'm going to set this stop loss at, for example, 100. 100 points, that's going to be 10 pips. And I'm going to set the stop loss to true, and I'm going to set the take profit as well to true, and that's going to be 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. You can use the trailing stop by points or trailing stop by ETR. You have the trailing stop by ETR here, and you can turn that on, and it will trail the stop with the ETR, or you can use trailing stop by points, and you can turn that on by setting that to true as well. Now, this is a manual simulation, so you have the stop loss, you have the take profit, you have a signals coming from a reliable indicator. I'm not saying that CCI is reliable. I'm saying that your own custom indicator, like the trend breakout catcher, is a reliable one. So you can use your own expert advisor, that your own indicator that you might think that is reliable, and you can start taking trades in this kind of setup right here. So all we have to do now is click on start, and we can see that in fact trades are being taken, and you can see actually that whenever there is a buy or a sell is taken, the algorithm is set in a way that it's not going to take any trade until the trade is closed. Like we're waiting for that to close, and then we got another signal, and that's when that trade is open. And that it actually works in the same exact way on all indicators. Now again, you can enable hedging, and you can see that the indicator is going to take a buy and sell signals at the same time. So basically, after you added all the settings for the environment, knowing that we added the custom indicator that we want to add with all the buffers, all you have to do is start a test, and then you will see the trades being taken. Or you can attach, when you are attaching actually in a real trading environment, when you are attaching the Smart Universal Expert Advisor to the chart, what's going to happen is you can do the same exact setup at the settings, and you can start trading in the same way using your own custom indicator. That's how you can add your own custom indicator. In this video, I have gone through the explanation of that step by step. In the next videos, I will go through the other elements and show you guys other ways to take advantage of this Smart Universal Expert Advisor. So with that being said, see you in the next video.